In some tragic news, the CDC has just reported more than 100,000 people died of drug overdoses between April 2020 and April 2021. That's up 30% from the year before. In fact, drug overdoses now account for more annual deaths than influenza, pneumonia, gun violence, and car accidents. One of the more dangerous drugs is fentanyl, which is 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin. In 2020, nearly 5,000 pounds of fentanyl crossed over our southern border. In 2021, that number jumped to more than 11,000. That's a 133% increase. Fentanyl now makes up more than half of all drugs that cross the U.S. border. Well, our next guest knows firsthand just how dangerous this all is. She lost her son, Brett, to a drug overdose in 2018. And just a week ago, her cousin lost her 13-year-old daughter after she was given a pill at a party that was laced with fentanyl. Joining us now is Debbie Nadler, co-founder of Moms Against Drugs. Debbie, thank you so much for being here. We're so sorry for your losses, but glad that you are here to speak and hopefully encourage some other parents who are out there as well. Tell us about how many other families this is affecting.
I would say it's affecting 1 in 3, 1 in 4 family members. There's a lot of families who don't know. There's no warning signs. Now there's especially no warning signs because these kids want to experiment for the first time, and they're going to go out, they'll go to a party, they'll take what they think is a Xanax, and they end up with a fentanyl. Just as what happened with my 13-year-old cousin a couple weeks ago. It's horrific what is going on in our country right now. We want to scream from the rooftops. All the grieving family members, we have groups across the country where we are trying to speak up. We are trying to get grieving family members to speak up because there's still shame and stigma associated with the loss. We're at a new level of this epidemic with the fentanyl. It's horrific.
It's interesting, you're right. I mean, I think for a lot of people, fentanyl's a new thing to understand and the prevalence of it. Mexico recently made the biggest seizure of fentanyl in its history. The Mexican army actually found 260 pounds of the synthetic opioid after arresting 5 suspected drug traffickers at a lab. And according to the CDC, 2/3 of the drug overdose deaths were fentanyl, which is up 49% for that specific drug. And I guess the question is, do you think that some of this stuff that's coming over the border is a direct result of that? Is it happening regardless, or is it because of what's coming over the border more recently?
It's absolutely what is coming through the border. This administration has opened up the doors to our country and has allowed everybody in. Ever since COVID, after COVID, the numbers, especially on the West Coast, we've been hit very hard because typically when the drugs were coming in through the border, they were going to mid-state, small cities, the East Coast. And now during COVID, gone up California, Nevada, my state, our fentanyl overdoses are through the roof. In addition to our teenage overdoses, and I shouldn't even call them overdoses, it's murder, where our kids are being poisoned today. And what's really negligent is that nobody is speaking about it. I don't even
Let me ask you about that, Debbie. Who is the best educator on this? Is it parents? Is it schools? Is it law enforcement? Who needs to be speaking up more about this?
The parents, and we are doing our best. What we've done, we have lost our children. We have taken our pain and turned it into a purpose. And the purpose is to educate other family members so they are not walking in our shoes. Most of the children, all of the children we've lost, they're scholars, football players, basketball players, in the military. They're your next door neighbor. This is not the 80s. This is not the same. We make banners that we carry across the country of all our loved ones. And when people see the faces on there, they're shocked. Their mouths are dropped. and the numbers have increased intensely. We started our 501c3, the nonprofit, in 2019, and at the time we had about 200 deaths a day, which is 200 too many. Now we're almost up to 300 a day. And it's complete negligence on this administration that they are not even using the word fentanyl. I don't even know if our president knows what fentanyl is, what it does, or what it means. And I challenge him to say fentanyl 100 times and to talk about it. Because at this point, the cat's out of the bag. We can't undo it. What we have to do is we have to educate our students. Prevention education is the key right now.
Well, hopefully this report will get some people's attention, the skyrocketing numbers. Debbie, we appreciate you sharing your story. We're so sorry for the loss of your son, Brett. And I hope that many people can go to your website and check it out more, momsagainstdrugs.com. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with more Spicer and Company. Don't go away.